What's up, everybody? This is Kracken, and today I am super stoked to bring you guys some more Guild Wars 2 news and just information about this game. Earlier this week, a press that was in the press beta weekend basically made an entire site devoted to the skills and trait system that Guild Wars 2 is going to have, and basically it's all the skills and utility skills and also the traits that were available during the beta. This is subject to change, but most of what I'm talking about today is not subject to change, which is sweet. But basically, I think they're going to keep most of everything here. It seems very complete, very polished, except for maybe they might tweak the numbers or cooldowns or something like that during the game. So it's a really awesome site. It's pretty much the best thing in regards to Guild Wars 2 I've seen since the guy that misspelled owned to pwned and just made that entire word. Or also gay jokes on Xbox Live. I mean, everyone's gay that plays Xbox Live, obviously. I mean, according to the players, that's basically it. That's all I hear when I go on Xbox Live. Anyways, I'm not a console gamer per se. I love consoles, but I just don't have one. And every single time I go on Xbox Live with my friends' Xbox, it's just like gay, 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 gay. Okay, enough being gay. Let's talk about Guild Wars 2. Alright, sweet. So, I'm going to talk about basically the Trinity, how healing, tanking, and damage is going to work in this game. It's not a traditional MMO, so it's very, very different, and so I figured I'd explain this to you and also give my thoughts on how awesome it's going to be. Alright, so healing, first off, it's basically going to be everyone's going to have their self-heal. If you watch my first video, I explained some of that. It's basically going to be your 6th skill. It's going to be, looks like about 40% of your health regen in a heal. And most heals are about 15 to 20 second cooldown. Some are longer than that. Some might be 30 seconds. Just depends on the class you're playing. And also, with that skill, usually there's a passive or during when you're actually healing yourself, you're either protected or doing something else, or maybe giving a buff to your allies, which is really sweet too. But besides your self heals, every other heal in the game is AoE, which is area of effect or in a certain spot or just around you. And also what I've seen from a lot of other people is the AoE heals are extremely weak for how much damage is going on and the action, which basically means to me that they don't want to have someone that just specs or, you know, skills for healing and just thinks they can be a healer. That's just not going to work in this game because of how much damage is coming out. It's better to actually do more damage than you heal, so you stop the person from killing you, or you kill the target before it kills you, basically. I think that's more the mentality that Guild Wars 2 is working on. And but like what really threw me off is, especially in the skill calculator, if you look at the Elementalist in its water attunement on basically every single weapon except for like the focus or something like that, which is an offhand weapon, every single one in its water attunement, which since it has 4 attunements because it's a Elementalist, has some sort of heal. So if you look at that and just look at that and you're just like, what? And you just look at all the skills in your water attunement, you're like, well, this is a healer, but it doesn't have actually any numbers. It just say it heals your allies, does damage, heals your allies, you know, does slows enemies in a, like, you know, whatever radius, and heals your allies. We don't know how much that heals, and what I've seen from like different gameplay footage and stuff like that, just from the beta, and also different playthroughs at conferences, it looks like those AoE heal skills are very, very minimal. Like they'll help you a little bit, but it won't be like, boom, you're about to die, all of a sudden an Elementalist comes off, you know, does its healing rain ability, which is an AoE heal, and it doesn't mean it's going to be like, boom, you're like back to full health in like 2 seconds. It's going to be like, oh, guess what, I get regen of 1% of my health every 2 seconds from this little guy. It's like, it's kind of weak. It seems really weak, but healing's not the focus of this game. It's more about dealing damage, preventing damage, and buffing your allies. which is really sweet. So that's why they more or less gone to this thing of support, which some classes are better at supporting than other classes, like supporting the group members, or whatever that like entails. Is usually mostly it's buffing each other. And what a big, if you look at say the Guardian, you can also say that's like the buffer of Guild Wars 2. The only thing is they call the debuffs and buffs conditions and boons. So boons are good, conditions are bad. So basically thumbs up, thumbs down. So the Guardian is a booner. That's kind of gross. Booner. He has a booner all the time. Booner. Okay, anyway, sorry. That's just I just think that name's hilarious. I don't know why they call them just buffs and debuffs, but whatever. But the Guardian, especially in a lot of its utility skills and a couple of its weapon sets, it puts down like AoE damage, but if you stand in it, you get regeneration, which is like a hot or a heal over time, or swiftness, or damage increase, or whatever. It's like a lot of their abilities have to do with buffing your friends, which makes their damage increase, which is really, really cool. So if you're like a team player, or like you really like that kind of like play style, you can just help your friends all the time, and then do damage too, but you're also helping each other. And they also have this thing called like Aegis, which blocks an attack, and you can like have it on yourself, but then you can make it, you can like pop it, I guess, or whatever, and it like explodes around you, and then it gives that effect to all your friends, including yourself too. So but that has a pretty long cooldown on it, which is really awesome though. But basically it grants protection for one hit, which could be a spell attack, a melee attack, or a projectile attack. So I think what's really cool about this game is it doesn't like, there's no resists in this game. There's no, oh, you have 14 frost resistance or cold resistance or flame resistance. It's damage is damage. Like, you're not gonna be able to resist something like, if someone's trying to CC you, you're not gonna be able to resist it. It's gonna be just, it either hits you, it doesn't, or just whatever. That's really cool. So the Guardian is really about supporting, but every single class has its heals. Every single class has its buffs that it does different things. Even though the Guardian seems like this really solid support class that can like really help your allies, if you look at the Mesmer in its the staff skill, which is one of the weapons that he can use, it basically has every single thing, can almost every single spell that it has on the staff either puts a random condition on your enemy, or a random debuff, or puts a random buff on your group. So you could have one Mesmer that gives you every single buff in the game, which I'll actually go into the buffs now. The different buffs they have, they got a decent amount. The really cool thing is about them, it's going to be more active buffing than passive buffing. It's not going to be like, boom, I give you might, which is a damage increase. Basically increases your strength to, or increases your damage by this amount, with basically all your attacks. It's not going to be like, oh, you get might for 30 minutes. It's going to be, you get might for 30 seconds or 15 seconds. So you got to keep that up. It's going to be a very active thing. The thing is, if you have 3 people buffing might, it's not gonna increase the amount. It's like the might is increased, so it's not gonna increase the amount of damage you do. It's just gonna increase the duration. So you could have 3 people buff might, and then boom, it's a minute and a half instead of 30 seconds. So, which is really sweet. But it's gonna be more active, which some people might think it would get tedious, but I think it's still gonna be sweet. All right, so I'm gonna go through all the buffs now, since I'm on the support business. So Aegis is going to be, you block the next attack, but that is only for the Guardian. They have their own, basically that's the only buff that's like the only one for just that class, but it's really sweet. So you block the next attack, doesn't matter what it is, you block the next attack everyone blocks the next attack. Just one attack though. So once you do it, it's gone, and you got like 2 minutes before you can do it again. So, and then you have Fury, which gives you a 20% increase to critical strike, which is crazy. So you crits everywhere. If you have a bunch of people buffing Fury, you know it's not going to increase like to 40% if 2 people buff Fury. It's just going to be increased to 20%. It's going to be double duration. Might I already went over, but increases just a damage by a certain amount. Protection. It decreases the damage that you take by 33%. Just a flat rate, 33%. Boom. Damage reduction. Regeneration is a heal over time. So, like, someone gives you regeneration, you have a hot on you. Cool beans. Alright. Vigor increases the max health, like, basically like a warrior shout in WoW. Like the commanding shout. So it just basically increases the max health. So, boom. You're Mr. Big Health over here. Alright, sweet. So, that basically goes through all the buffs in this game. Alright, and almost every single class either can do all of the buffs or just a few. If you look at, say, like the warrior in his... There's also swiftness, sorry, I totally forgot about that one. Swiftness increases movement speed by, I think it's about 33% movement speed, so... that's a really sweet buff too. So you're quick. Yeah, that's what's up. Alright, so another sweet thing is with buffing, some of the classes have like area of effect buffs that you gotta stay in the area to have the effect. Like the Guardian can place a seal on the ground, and for within 10 yards or whatever the measurements that they use, probably meters because this company is based in Europe, I think, or they have a huge European fan base at least. They basically, you got to stay in a certain area to have this effect. So that's really sweet. So like, it depends on where you stand, you'll get buffed by a certain way. Like if you look at the warrior, they have like the Banner of Discipline, and it improves precision and critical damage on you and nearby allies around the like area. So basically it increases might and fury. That looks like the boons that are going to be used. And then you also have Banner of Strength, which improves strength and condition damage on you and nearby allies. So basically, it doesn't increase the damage that you take, it increases the damage that you deal. I don't know what it's kind of worded weird, but that's basically the effect of it. Then you have, like, if you have the war horn, if you're a warrior, you grant swiftness with charge ability, and you remove conditions on your allies. So if they're like if you need to like run away from a mob or a group of people that are attacking you in PvP, you can use that ability, and you guys are, 1, moving fast, and 2, if anyone's crippled next to you, they start moving fast too, along with you, so you can all get the heck out of there. And then there's another ability that has Call to Arms, grant vigor to your allies, to yourself and allies, while weakening nearby foes. So basically, enemies take more damage, and then your allies get their health increased, which is really, really sweet. That just look a little bit into the support system. I'm not going to go through all the abilities because there's so many abilities that every single class has that increases stuff, but like the Ranger has a bunch of abilities that are in the certain spot you're increased your attack speed, in this certain spot you're increased, you have more protection or whatever. Just really sweet abilities that they are implementing into this game. Okay, so wow, this is going a lot longer than I thought it was, but it's cool. I'll be going faster. The rest of that was just a really big thing. I just want to get into the more into the skill system and healing and support class. All right, so now we're gonna look at tanking. It's kind of weird in Guild Wars 2 because there's no aggro table per se. There kind of is, but there's kind of not. You can't taunt things. There's not gonna be any taunts. If you're carrying a sword and a shield, you can't like say, "Hey, yo, hit me because I have the most protection." Like, the enemy's gonna go, "Why?" But it looks like what they have. I haven't gotten a clarification, so I'm sorry if I am wrong. But it looks to me that, and also what I've read, is it's more about your health and also your distance away from the enemy. So if you say you're trying to kite a mob because you're about to die, and someone else kind of saves you and goes up and smacks the boss, if the enemy or the NPC or mob or whatever you want to call it is closer to that guy, he'll probably change targets onto it. Doesn't matter how much damage you've done to him in the past. He'll probably change targets because, hey, this guy's hitting me. He's the most immediate threat to me. So I need to engage that guy. So, and also I think if you just give distance, the mob might change targets to the next nearest guy. I think that's how it's going to work. It would make sense, especially because of some boss fights. You might only be able to take 3 hits, and then you gotta, like, you know, back off so he change targets, and so then you can go back and, you know, get, you know, hit on him again and heal yourself up. So that's basically what tanking is gonna be. But really cool, even though, like, some, like, if you go into healing, like, say the thief and the necromancer are pretty bad at healing, you could say. Their allies, at least, for, like, you know, for amount. But every single class, well, I've looked through basically all the skills and stuff, every single class can block attacks. Every single class has some way of evading attacks and also reducing the damage that they take. So basically every class is pretty equal when it comes to taking damage. I think the warrior, like the heavy armor classes, I think it's like the warrior and the guardian and maybe the engineer, I'm not quite sure. I doubt it, but maybe. All 3 of those guys can have shields, but and they all can block attacks, but so can the rest of the classes, so that's nothing. But I think those guys can take more of a hit, so they can, you know, block attack, but they can get smacked around a lot more because they have heavier gear, so obviously they're going to be able to take more of a hit. But those guys aren't necessarily the tanking classes, though. Like the Mesmer, it has abilities that it, like, you know, blocks the next attack and creates an illusion, so the enemy's attacking the illusion and you're all safe and free. It's really sweet. So I think every single class, if you want to set your class up to tank or, like, you know, be like the tank, but it might not always work. You might actually not be the tank, but if you're in like a tight spot and you're taking a bunch of damage, you can either switch a weapon set or, you know, have that as your secondary, and then, you know, reduce the damage that you take and protect yourself or protect your allies, which is really sweet. And then now I'm going to go into a little bit of a sweet mechanic that they are implementing in this game. It's called the dodge roll. What the dodge roll is, it's going to be basically you have a health meter, or not health meter, wow, an endurance meter that you have, so you can dodge by double clicking in the direction you want to dodge in the game, and you can dodge twice before the meter runs out, and I believe you can dodge about every 5 to 8 seconds ish. I'm not exactly sure the exact time, sorry if I'm wrong, but I believe it's not faster than 5 seconds that you can dodge. It's about 5 to 8 seconds, what I've seen. With that, it's really sweet because that you can, like, dodge out of the way of attacks. One thing that I did know, and I have heard, that since, like, I mean, it's an MMO and it's not an action-based game, so you can actually lock onto targets. So, like, a spellcaster can lock on a target and spam stuff, and they don't have to, like, have their, like, character exactly positioned, like, exactly correctly for them to hit a target, and, like, the spell will hit the target even if the target moves a little bit. But the thing is, with the dodge roll, if you time it right, and it's all about timing, basically the spell will still hit you, but if you're dodging at that point, you will evade the damage. So basically it's going to be, every time you dodge, you are invulnerable for a time. It depends on, like, what's hitting you, and it's only about for a half a second. So, but during that time, you're basically immune to everything, unless, you know, unless it's like a huge boulder coming out of the sky and you dodge and you're still in the radius of where it's gonna hit. You're still gonna get hit by it. It's not gonna be like, oh well, I'm good. You know, like, even if someone, like, smacks you in the face in like an area of effect weapon, you're still gonna get hit by that kind of stuff. But the dodge roll, it's like, it's really, really sweet for me, because one thing, everyone has it. Every profession, every race, everyone has it, and, you know, they can do it twice, then again once every, like, 5 to 8 seconds after the first 2. But the thing is, even though people are like, what, this is like an invulnerability spell or something like that, it kind of is, but it's kind of not, because it's only for half a second, and even then, if you time it wrong, you'll still get hit by spells. And so it's really not OP because one thing, everyone has it, and also you can only do it twice. So it's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to dodge, dodge, dodge. There's going to be like 3 people and you just dodge it. And you're really good at dodging. You can't just do it forever. You can only do it twice. You might be able to beat people, like multiple people, if you're just, alone with your other abilities. If you're able to like stun one and like knock one out of the action for a little bit, then whack on another guy if there's like 3 targets and you're trying to be like Mr. BA, be like solo 3 people in a PvP zone. You're not gonna be able to save yourself by dodging. You might be able to reduce a lot of the damage you take by dodging, which is really sweet, but you're not gonna be able to. It's not gonna be like, oh, this guy just knows how to dodge a lot. Like, oh, it's like, it's OP, like he cheats or whatever. It's not gonna be like that, I don't think. But it does reward a lot of skill of timing, like, oh, this person's about to hit me, I'm gonna dodge out of the way, just get out of the way and just be aware of your surroundings. And it also makes the combat billion times more action oriented, which is just so sweet. So sweet. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for this game. Alright, sweet. So that's the dodge mechanic, and that's also going to be a huge thing in tanking, you could say, or just reducing the amount of damage you take if an NPC, mob, boss, whatever you want to call it, is engaging you. If you are able to dodge a lot of its attacks, you'll still be at full health or whatever. It's going to be really, really sweet, and just makes the combat that much more action oriented, and just rewards people that are aware of what's going on around them. Alright, sweet. So let's get to the last topic, which is damage, or DPS, whatever you want to call it. The people that go pew pew and hit stuff. Alright, so in most games, like the kind of, or basically the mindset people have, like in World of Warcraft, and looks like, I haven't played it, but SWTOR, it's basically their mindset is nuke the crap out of everything and do it as fast as possible. And if another person can't do it as good as you, they suck, and you say they're a noob. That's basically the mentality that I've seen in all the rest of the games. In Guild Wars 2, especially the PvE situation, I think it's more going to be about cooperating with your group than who can do the most damage. And and like, if the person, whoever does the most damage, doesn't mean they're exactly the best player of the group. It just means that they were able to do the most damage towards the enemies, and they didn't have any other responsibilities. They might be, if they did the most damage, they might have been the worst player, just because the group either didn't give them any responsibility, or just gave them the easy job of just hitting there and smacking things. Because I think it's going to be more or less like, oh, during this trash mobs, say, you need to stun this guy, you need to focus this guy down, someone else needs to kite another ad, just keep their attention, and just like, it's going to be just so much more cooperative in the PvE like kind of situation, you could say. And I think that's going to be really sweet, because it's not going to be like, oh man, like, look at me, I'm on the top of the DPS charts, or, oh, look at me, I'm just that much better than you because you're a damage and I'm a damage too, and stuff like that. Since they're nuking the roles, I think it's going to change people's mentalities towards PvE and also working together. And so I think it's going to, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to create more of a community in the game, which is going to be sweet. Basically, it's going to be like, more or less like, dude, that was sweet, we were able to get this boss down, and like, I did the most damage, but that's just because you were doing this other crazy stuff, and like, you were still able to dodge all the damage that the boss was doing, so I could just sit there and hack at him and stuff, which is just sweet, super, super sweet. But I also want to touch on a little bit of the community of Guild Wars 2. It seems like, I don't know, like, I go on like the Guild Wars 2 guru forums, and like, of course there's trolls and things like that, but it just seems like there's so much more of like a positive kind of focus of the group, and it just seems like it's just a little bit more healthier than some other games that I've seen. Like, if you look at, like, World of Warcraft, of course, the game's not out yet, so it could be terrible compared to World of Warcraft, but what I've seen, it's not bad at all. And I think it's going to be like a really, really sweet game, and it's going to be just a different type of player, and hopefully a lot of the same types of players that I've played with in the past, but also just hopefully it's gonna have a better community of people that, you know, you can just like hang out and, you know, like, hey dude, let's go check out this crazy big boss, you know, dynamic event. Like there's gonna be like 40 people there. Let's us three go be like a team and do this part of the dynamic event, and like, you know, just like have a bunch of sweet, like, you know, friends online that aren't like, oh man, I do more damage than you, sweet. It's like, no, it's like we all work together to go towards this goal. And it's, I think, I mean, there's obviously going to be like competitive people, and, you know, PvP, I mean, I'm freaking competitive as crap. Like, I love PvP. But when it comes to like your server and the PvE thing, I think there's still going to be competitions, but it's going to be more friendly. And I hope it is, at least. I could be wrong, but that's what I just hope and dream for. That's what I do. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was informational. I tried to be as informed as I could going into this podcast. Hopefully I wasn't boring. But yeah, I just I love bringing you guys Guild Wars 2 coverage, and this is sweet. If you want to see anything again, just let me know in the comments below. If you want me to change something for a future video, just let me know. If you liked it, please like it. If you really liked it, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I really enjoy putting out stuff. I'll be putting out some other games in the future, some Terra beta. I was able to go into the Terra beta, so I did play for a weekend just a little bit, but I wasn't able to film anything, so I didn't want to bring that out before I actually filmed stuff. But this next, not this weekend, but the next weekend, I will actually be able to go into the beta, and I will actually check out the game more, and I will have my impressions for you guys if you want to see them for the Terra Online. I'm still going to do a lot of Guild Wars 2, but I just want to bring in some other games, and also, of course, I'm going to still do some StarCraft 2 commentary. I hope you guys enjoy those as well. And anyways, but if you guys want to see anything, just definitely let me know. I'm always up for any kind of game, as long as I don't have to buy like 6 and spend a whole lot of time. I'm working right now, so it's just, I have a limited amount of time, but I just love bringing you guys Guild Wars 2 coverage. Alright, sweet guys. Well, yeah, also, if you want to ever hit me up, I'm on darkrevolutiongaming.com. I'm a global moderator. Try to keep it classy over there. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, I'm Kracken, so keep it classy, folks. Later.